forgiveness it's going to set you and that person free.
Welcome to the Jackie Rae Show. Welcome back to the Jackie Rae Show, your home for news, sports, and community. I'm, of course, your host, Jackie Rae. I did take a few weeks off because my birthday was November 9th, and I celebrate the entire month. That's a new thing. I started doing that into 2016 when the election ruined my birthday, and here we are again. But I've had some great celebrations. Thank you so much for everyone who celebrated with me. I'm going to talk about one very, very special gift at the end of the show, so you want to make sure you stay tuned for that. I'm also going to talk about some things that I've experienced and some concerns that I think are very legitimate as we head into this new world order. That is a shout out to my Christian friends out there. But I definitely think that we're moving into a space that is not positive, especially for Black Americans in this country. So we're definitely going to talk about that at the end of the show. But I want to talk about something right now that is amazingly beautiful. I have a special guest right now. Her name is Iyore, and I met her. Actually, I found her on YouTube. She did this show, which is called 5 Minutes with an Akate. I believe I'm saying that right. She is Nigerian American. Her father is from Nigeria, and that is a term that is a derogatory term, which I had no idea. And so I hear this phrase a lot. We're not a monolith. I mean, Black people say all the time, we're not a monolith. I think that's fine. However, we do all, whether we want to admit it or not, and we should all want to admit it, we do all have similar shared experiences. So especially going into this new time, I think it's important for us to be willing to learn from one another and grow with one another. And she has an amazing series that'll help you do that. I'm going to put that in the description. She is a creative. She's a voiceover artist. She's a storyteller. And her and I had an amazing conversation, and it's one that I think you could learn from no matter what space you're in, but especially if you're a creative person. So without further ado, please meet Iyore. So I know we've talked about this before, but for the listeners, you're from Nigeria, correct?
I'm born and raised in Portland, Oregon. I'm
Portland,
from,
Oregon.
yeah, my dad is
Okay.
Nigerian.
Your dad is Nigerian. Okay. And so what
Yes.
is your given name?
Iyore, yeah. I
Iyore?
know most
Okay.
Nigerians have really long names.
Really
I just happen to
long.
be one. Yeah, first and last. I just happen to be one with
Mm-hmm.
a shorter first name. Yeah, and it's Iyore. Depending on who you're talking to, it's Iyore. Iyore is, so a lot of different, I guess, inflection and how you're supposed to pronounce it, which is actually why people back home call me Iyore.
Iyore.
Because
Okay.
people, yeah, in Portland, Oregon, because my family, on my mom's side of the family, we Black. And so they like, it's Iyore. And then, and
Right.
then when I got to college and, pretty much college, young adult life, that's when I got corrected a million times that it's
Mm-hmm.
Iyore. But what's interesting about that though is my dad would always say like, this is how I told you to say it. This is what your name is. This is how this is your name. This is what it means.
Mm-hmm.
And don't let anybody else kind of try to because our tribe is different than the most popular tribe here in the
Mm.
States. Well, at least two of them, Yoruba and Igbo, and I'm neither. So
Oh,
a
okay.
lot of times, yeah, a lot of times they're the one trying to correct me on it,
Mm-hmm.
and my dad is just like, nah, never mind them, just leave them, like
I
So
love
yeah,
it.
yeah.
So what tribe are you guys from?
Edo tribe, so Edo.
Okay.
Yep, yeah,
Okay.
Benin people. Mhm,
I love that.
mhm.
Look at us learning something today. So I love that. As far as I feel like this entertainment road, it can be a blessing and a curse sometimes, but I think once you're in it and you love it, there's no turning back. So what was your journey into saying I want to be all things encompassing as far as how I share my voice and tell my stories?
I think I've just been figuring it out, to be honest with you.
Mhm.
I think there are times where I feel like I know, and I'm really certain. I've always been very introspective, and so I've been in tune with like my skill set, my talent, and things like that. But still understanding how like the media world works, I think, has been the journey of it all.
Mm-hmm.
And now that totally looks totally different. Like social media has just like flipped that whole thing upside down. Which that I would say has been a blessing, and then not so much a blessing, because
Mm-hmm.
it's been interesting to navigate of like what I'm willing to do, what I'm not willing to do, what I want to do versus what I don't want to do, and all of that. So, but I think overall, I know I'm a storyteller. That's at the top of
Yes.
it. And even over top of that, I think I'm a visionary. And so I think those two things have always kind of steered me. Even when I didn't even have the language to know that, I knew that
Mm-hmm.
was my thing. And other people saw it too, and they would tell me that. So it's an interesting question that you asked, because that's something that I've been thinking about a lot lately, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be talking about a little bit more on my YouTube channel. So,
As far as your voice and your storytelling, what was
mm.
the first project that you said, I have to get this out, and this is why? Like, what was that project and what was your why?
So that's interesting because, see, this is the analytical in me, because I want to dissect that question of like, how far back do we want to go?
Mhm.
Because that can go back to high school, actually, which was where
Mhm.
a lot of this birthed. But yeah, I went to a polytechnic high school, and so you had to learn multiple trades and kind of declare a major, if you will. One of which was video and photography, and I fell in love with both of those very much. And we had to do a project, and we decided to do a PSA, and just the whole process. I just fell in love with it. I was like, wait, so you telling me I can imagine something and then someone else is gonna see it like that? I just, that blew my mind away. And so I
Mhm.
think that the topic was on suicide and bullying, actually. So before it was really, a thing that we're now talking about, which is good that we're talking about it
Mhm.
more. But yeah, I think that I don't know. I don't know that I had the why at the time. I guess that is
Mhm.
my why. I just was
Right.
like, you mean I it's funny, we have language for it now, but
Mhm.
I was able to control the narrative. I didn't think
Right.
that, I didn't have that language then. I didn't have that vocabulary at that time, but the fact that I was able to do that really excited me. So that was
Mhm.
probably my why, to be honest with you. Yeah.
So what are you working on right now?
Well, I just finished Nigerian Father.
Okay.
It has been, yeah, it's what I'm calling a vlogumentary.
Mhm.
That is a three-part series on my YouTube channel, Unpopular without the A. And
Mhm.
I pretty much explore what I've observed. And so one thing
Mm.
that kind of just sharing with people in person is that not considering myself to be an expert, but I am an observer. And I think I've observed a lot of things that I don't know that most people will. Or not that
Mm.
most people will, but I always find myself in unique situations. I'll say that. And
Mhm.
um and sometimes I feel like I have a duty to kind of speak to those things. And so with Nigerian Father, I talk about my father who passed away last year. So it's kind of a way to honor him in his 1 year remembrance. It is also again an observation to things that I noticed that I'm personally not okay with. Um,
Mm.
and in
Can you give
terms
us an
of the
example?
burial process.
Ah.
Sorry.
So that's what you're not comfortable with, something as far as the burial process?
Yes, just as far as things that, as a Nigerian daughter and as a Nigerian American, I understand that I don't live in Nigeria and never have. I've visited. And so obviously some of the things that I'm saying are um, not necessarily in totality of someone's view who is living there. And so I
Mhm.
take that into account. But I'm sitting down with my friend who is also Nigerian American, who also has seen some kind of strange things, who has grieved her father. But I think throughout the conversation, I learned that she says this, that she's kind of on the other side of it in terms of like the
Mm.
frustration and the anger of it all. And I'm like, well, that's great, but
Not there
I
yet.
I'm not there yet, and I don't know that I will be. But
Mhm.
it was a healing process. So although there was frustration, it's out of just wanting more. It's out of just wanting
Mm.
more for Nigerians and seeing so much of what my dad did as a little girl, and to almost feel like, are we in the same place? Has anything changed?
Mm. Mhm.
And if it hasn't, why? And then and I think some of the observation piece to that is my faith, and I just feel like I've seen some things, I think spiritually, that are just really hard to deny, and
Mm.
hard to just kind of chuck up with, like, oh well, that's just the way it is. And it's just like,
Mhm.
and then on top of that, I will say this as well, there are other women who have told me that they felt very similar. Now, I won't share who
Mm.
they are, but that they felt very similar about what I experienced. And so
Yeah.
that also lets me know, like, okay, I know I'm not tripping. I know I'm not the only
Right.
one experiencing this. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, I can definitely tell, like, that was like the perfect tease for people to go and check out your YouTube page and hear your story about this, because I first of all, so very sorry for your loss. That I think the first, at least for me, I know everyone's experience is different, but the first 5 years were just awful after my
Mm,
dad passed.
mm,
Because
mm,
everything reminded me of him, and then I felt like I heard his voice all the time, and then that
yep,
was just heartbreaking. And I still hear
yep.
his voice all the time, but now I embrace it.
Hmm.
Now I just feel like we're so in tune. But at the beginning, you're trying to find a place where little stuff just doesn't send you into this flood of tears in the grocery store and people are looking at you like you're
Yep,
crazy. So
yep,
it was
yep,
just this whole
yep.
like process. And the burial process, I can't wait to dive in to hear what you have to say about that, because I know your experience is going to be unique. I told my friends, if y'all just don't throw me in the ocean and just go celebrate my life, the
Mm,
process for me was just too long. I
mm,
don't want y'all to do that and just be hyper focused. And
mm,
depending on how I go, I don't want y'all to see me that be your last vision of me. I want your last vision of
mm,
me to be the last time we was laughing together, the last time you was like, Jackie, that
mm,
was inappropriate. Something like that,
mm.
something happy. But I don't want
Mhm.
anyone who's close to me, their last vision of me to be in a box.
Yeah.
That's just me personally. So,
Yeah. No, I feel that. And yeah, man. I think what's uh frustrating for me is that I kind of held on to some things that I should have let go sooner. And so while I'm
mm,
grateful that we got to a place of forgiveness and all of that, which is amazing. I'm grateful for that, especially as a Nigerian man. He
mm-hmm,
apologized and all that. So I'm grateful for that, but I'm like, man, I should have just did that sooner. And it's
mm-hmm,
crazy because for the most part, you kind of, and most Nigerian children are kind of like, be this good Nigerian. You respect your elders, respect this, respect that. Just be a good kid, and that's, I feel like, what I always was. But it's like we're not kids anymore, you know what I mean? And I got questions, and they need
mm-hmm,
answers, and
mm-hmm.
and then that, I think that anger just kept brewing and brewing, and I'm like, I didn't have to let it brew.
Mm,
Basically, I should have just kind of accepted him for who he was, especially at old age. It's just like,
right.
I'm leaving you to God. Like
Right,
I
yeah.
can't do, you know what I mean? Like, what am I gonna do? But um I think once I did get past that, I started to remember, which I really believe this was the Lord. I started to remember. Now this is crazy, girl. So many things that my dad did as a little when I was a little girl. Like right before he passed. And I was
Mm,
just like, I
that's
think
definitely the
that's
Lord.
very interesting. Yeah, I think it's very interesting that all of a sudden I experienced that. And so yeah, I think my last days with him were great. but it could have
Mm-hmm.
been more and it could have been longer. And so I do encourage folks to please, obviously it's about Nigerian fathers, so please, forgive your Nigerian father. If you can find it in your heart, do it. But obviously that's across the board, no matter what your ethnicity is. Forgiveness it's gonna set you and that person free. So just
Mm,
try to find it in your heart. And I know some people have like painful, right, experiences with their
right.
parents. So I don't mean to disregard that in any kind of way. But I'm telling you, because my friend told me that. She told me
Mm-hmm.
that. She was just because she had lost her father the year she was getting married. And she said, none of this is gonna matter. Wow, I'm tearing up.
Yep.
Been doing a good
Yep.
job. Usually I can hold it
Yes.
all back. Um, but she's like, none of this is gonna matter. She's like, none of this is
Mm-hmm.
gonna matter. And I was just like, yeah, you have a different relationship with your dad, though. You know what I mean? Like, you guys are really
Yeah.
tight. And da-da-da. Girl, she was right. It does
Yeah.
not matter.
It
It
doesn't.
All of it just went away in an instant. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know you probably didn't want to tear up. I think it is a beautiful thing that you can be on a podcast with somebody you kind of know, but kind of not really, and just be so true to
Sure.
who you are as a person. That is a beautiful thing as a human being. It's a beautiful
Yep.
thing as a Nigerian American woman. It's a beautiful thing as a Black woman. So I thank you for being your authentic self today. So,
I
okay. So,
appreciate
aside from Nigerian Father on YouTube, what else can we look
it.
forward from you?
More series, more
Yes.
content coming. And I'm hoping well, we'll see, but I would like to probably do another short film
Mm-hmm.
soon too. So, but we'll see. We'll see. I think sometimes I put a lot on my plate, so I have to remember to kind of like
Yeah.
pace it out. But yeah, working on some interviews coming up and working on some content that gets real about me and my journey as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you clearly
Yeah.
have a story to tell, and you tell it in a way that's so authentic. So I definitely
Mm.
encourage all of my listeners, my readers, all of that. I'm gonna put all the social media handles and all that in the description. Please be sure to check her out because I think the realness that you experience today is literally who she is authentically. And in this day and age, I think some realness from people is just beautiful. I think we're in
Yeah.
everybody's trying to pretend to be. I saw something
Yeah.
the other day that was like, oh, download this app and you can change your entire body and nobody will be able to tell it's Photoshop because I'm like, why? Who are we? Who are we becoming? Where we've got to just be
Man.
this fake all the time. Just be your authentic self. Who you are
Yeah.
authentically is beautiful, and you've proven that today. And I am so thankful for you for doing that.
Oh. Oh, that's really
Yeah,
sweet of you to say that. Thank you. Thank
yeah,
you.
no,
I do want to remind people that there are Black folks in Portland. I just had to say
yes.
that. Just had to say that real quick.
That was such a great conversation to just have her be her authentic self. We were on the phone for maybe another 20 minutes after that, really just talking about our experiences, both of us losing our father and what that means to us. Like she said, she was a daddy's girl at one point, but some things had happened and then she had to get back to that. And so I just encourage you to take her advice. Find a spirit of forgiveness, not just with your family members, but anyone close to you. It's just not worth it. We don't know what tomorrow is going to bring, and you don't want to have things out there that are unsaid that should have been said. So I encourage you to say that now. But that, all that being said, I do want to talk about what 2025 and beyond is going to mean for us as Black women, as Black Americans in this country. And the truth of the matter is like it or not, white people have spoken. We would be absolutely foolish to not listen. They've hinted before, they have hollered it now. And we are in a time right now, and I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. The reason why Donald Trump is so popular is because he speaks to an either or situation. He either speaks to your ignorance or he speaks to your hatred. And so what I think we're seeing here is there's a level of ignorance for sure. I think people just don't read and they don't learn as much as they should. When somebody who kind of speaks to their bias says, oh, he didn't say that, they take it as fact instead of doing their research. So I think ignorance plays a huge part of it. But I also think that this country was founded on hate. And anything, when you don't blow up the foundation, if the foundation was faulty and you don't start it over, that foundation is going to sustain you forever. That is our foundation as a country. We were founded on hate and tyranny. Full stop. And so I don't think we should have this expectation that a man who's trying to tap into that, because that's what he means when he says make America great again. Let's go back to this BS of being hateful and exercising tyranny upon the people. That's what he's talking about. And so when he's saying that, he's definitely not talking about me. When he thinks about making America great, he's not talking about me. If you're Black, he's not talking about you. So I think for me, the level of fear and things of that nature that I have, I wouldn't say that I'm fearful per se, because I expect this. I expected this for a long time. So I've definitely put things in place. So I think I will be okay, but I'm not sure if physical violence is going to start coming. We've seen, if you're on social media, we've seen a rise in hate crimes and people just acting however they want to act because they feel entitled to do so. And why wouldn't they? There's a felon in office that's about to be in office. So I don't understand why we think they wouldn't. And as Black as Americans, if he's going to give white cops who openly practice racism and violence against Black people, if he's going to give them immunity, let me tell you something. This whole we are not a monolith. We don't have to agree on everything, but we do have to agree on this. We are all we have, and we have to stick together. We also have to agree on something else. And this is regardless of your ethnicity or your racial background. Now more than ever, you need strong journalism, especially in your local communities. Because like it or not, no matter who you are, if you're not a journalist, you do not have the bandwidth, you do not have the time, you probably don't have the energy to work a 9-to-5 job. And if you have children, come home and take care of them and the household and all that, and then go out and do research and try to keep your local politicians accountable. You simply don't have the time. You don't have the bandwidth. That's not a ding on you. That is a life happens situation, and you need some peace in your life. You can't get off work and then all of a sudden say, oh, what's happening over here? So I'm encouraging you to invest in your local journalism. And because you know what? Journalism, a good journalist, it's more than them just telling the story. Sometimes it's their mere presence that can move the needle for you. And I have an example of that. So recently, well, actually about a month and a half ago now, a woman contacted me. She lives here in Long Beach. She lives in a condominium that is in a predominantly Black and brown community. It's District 6 here for us in Long Beach. And the homeless problem there was just exponential. It's a lot. And there's prostitution happening right on her street. There's people who live on the first floor that homeless people were getting on the balcony and sleeping. And then when they would call the police would say, well, there's nothing that we can do because they haven't broken into your home. It's just a mess. When I went to go visit her personally, I had to step over a needle on the ground. And I can't even imagine if I had a child and I walked up to my home and I saw that, what that would have done to me mentally. But that is the situation there. I had gone several times and sat there just because I wanted to see. They did do a cleanup. The city came through and did a cleanup, but there was still a presence, especially after dark. Like freaks come out at night, So especially after dark, there was a presence. And I saw this presence and I knew people had called the police because they, were constantly exchanging messages, but the police never came. So this woman who contacted me, she did her due diligence and contacted the police department with no response. So then she went to her city council member. And for months, she was sending emails. Please meet with me in person. Please come by. I really want to show you this. I don't think you're getting an understanding of what's going on. No help, no response from our city council person here, which is Suli Saro here in the 6th district of Long Beach. Now, finally, when she gets to me, I says, okay, well, let me make sure that the problem is as bad as you say first. And then once I saw that it was, then I placed a call and I said, hey, my name is Jackie Rae. I'm a reporter here in Long Beach. I'm wondering if you can give me a call back because I want to speak about what's going on in this neighborhood and the lack of response from your office. I didn't hear a word. 2 days later, I sent an email and I said, hey, my name is Jackie Rae. I'm a reporter here in Long Beach. I'm doing a story on the lack of response from your office. And I'm wondering if you have a policy to not directly address constituents? And if so, why is that policy a thing? Why is this your practice to not speak to the people that you are sworn in to serve when they have a real problem, especially for there's older people in this building that can't even get down the sidewalk because there's homeless people on the sidewalk? Like, where are you at? 2 days later, I get an email that says, oh, Jackie, we've reached out. We have contacted her. We have set up a time on Saturday for her to meet with Councilwoman Sulisaro. And I said, oh, okay. And so then she contacts me and she's like, this email came out of the blue. And I was like, yeah, this is why. So it's definitely a CYA situation. But my point is this, a mere email from myself all of a sudden sparks a conversation. And now it's like, well, maybe we can do this. Maybe we can do this. Maybe I can come to your HOA board meeting on Tuesday because of a phone call from a journalist that they know has a reputation of it in this city. I'm going to get this story out. I'm still going to get the story out. Let me be clear. I'm still going to get the story out that, because now, but it's going to be a different story now. It's going to be a story about how there was a lack of response, but now there is a response and hopefully some action. And if you think it is wise to walk into 2025 without a strong journalistic presence local, and I want to emphasize that, in your city, you are sadly mistaken. So what I encourage you to do is you go and find a small journalistic outlet. For us here in Long Beach, it is the LB Watchdog. I'm also going to set up some ways so you guys can donate to me personally as I continue to build my brand. But it is very important because you need us. We are here for you. It is my passion to try to help people. So that made me smile when she finally got that response. And now they're actually doing some things. But the point is you need us. We want to help you, but we need your help to do that, because I don't know if you know this, but we live in a capitalistic society and good intentions don't pay nary a bill. So if you could, please subscribe to the Long Beach Watchdog, because it's going to help me out. If you want to help me directly, DM me and I will let you know how you can do that. But if you want to help journalism as a collective, please go to LB Watchdog and subscribe, become a member, a paying member. Your money's going to go a long way to making sure that journalism is thriving and protecting you, because that is what we want to do. Now, with that, I want to say something else. For those of you who are watching on YouTube or Spotify, you see my shirt. This is my slogan. I cover people, because I do cover sports, news, and community. But I did not make this shirt. So it says I cover people, and then up on the top it has the Jackie Rae Show. I'm also on the Mo Kelly Show every Monday on KFI AM 640, iHeartRadio. Yes, I was a news anchor with them as well. I was one of the 640 people that got laid off, which is kind of weird to get laid off twice in 8 months, which is, again, why we need your support. But this is why I do it. So I met this woman. Her name is Jamaica Loud. She came to the Halloween party that Mo Kelly had at KFI, and she immediately recognized me from my voice, and she's been a fan the whole time. It's almost 2 years now that I've been on the Mo Kelly Show, and her and I got to talking about what my passions are, and we really kind of went from, journalist fan to friends very, very quickly. She came out to my birthday party, and I had said on a previous podcast with another friend of mine named Courtney that I really need to make this my slogan. I cover people. So she made me this shirt. Not only did she make me this shirt, I know y'all can't see it, and I know y'all heard all this stuff that's in there, but she made me this amazing tote that says the Jackie Rae Show. And I had to shout her out, because that was just such a beautiful, heartfelt gift that she didn't have to do, that spoke to my heart. Because sometimes, journalists, we do this because we love it, but sometimes it is a thankless job. Sometimes it is people really don't realize how much of our passion, our heart, and our soul we pour into this. So for me to receive this gift from somebody who sees that and appreciates that made my whole world. It was amazing. It was my part 2 birthday. She gave it to me on my part 2 birthday. So I just wanted to shout her out. If you're in Lancaster, I'm also going to put in the description her dog grooming business if you want to stop by there. But this is why we do it. We do it to make a difference. We do it to make your heart smile when times are bad. We do it to be there for you when times are bad so we can help you get through it. So please support your local journalism. Please go to Iyore's. I'm going to put her links to everything. Follow her on her journey. And remember, life is short, so make it good. We'll see you next time.